Let's see what our meat's looking like. So that's the carboy, and this is taped together, and it's just a very rudimentary way of letting all the gases out, and no air can go back in, and there it is, it's bubbling. I don't know if you can hear or see, there's all these tiny little bubbles happening. So this is meat. This one has 8 pounds of honey. And then there's a second batch. This one has about 5 pounds of honey. And this should take about a month and a half to finish. So it's only been like barely a week. This is a homemade sourdough culture. So it sits like that. It's just been exposed to air and age, and that's the homemade sourdough bread. It's really soft inside and nice and crusty on the outside. Homemade sauerkraut. This only took about 8 days. It's really good, it's nice and mild. This is roasted, home roasted coffee. So we got these beans from Ethiopia and already ground it. And then with this, we make cold brew coffee, just like that, by soaking it overnight in a mason jar. This is some EM concentrates, and each one of these are full strength concentration. So this is 10 gallons. And today I was gonna put some of that in the garden soil, and that should break down minerals, organic matter, make it available for the plants. So let's go look at the garden. So when I got here, there was this orange tree, and it's like a juicing orange variety. There was this bed here, and we brought in a lot of soil, and so I set this up like a hugelkultur bed with some straw underneath, and then some sandy soil, and then there's a layer of this like black soil, which is like potting soil. And so far we have a bunch of okra. So that right there is a squash. These are all okras. Mostly it's okra. And then there's some green peas. There's green peas right there. It can climb the okra. So it's it's kind of smaller space up front, and then more deep space further, plant root space. And I was gonna do a bunch of like peppers, maybe smaller plants on the outside, and I got some cilantro planted. In the very rim there's some cilantro seeds. So to stack it up, like the smallest plant, it would be like cilantro, and then we got some peppers and peas, and there'll be squash like sprawling on the empty spaces, and the okra will grow tall, all along this fence. So maybe like 5 feet tall. Over here, there's some nice crystals by the roots. So there's a few things here. There's like some spinach, there's some cilantro babies, some onions coming through. But I wanted this to be like a herb garden. Some nice potting soil in here. And here's like this area, there's like a little bit of a fence, and that could all be like covered in some kind of vines. So I have butternut squash here in a pot. So this is a container garden pretty much. And see, there's some peas. I want them to climb on that. So there was this bed that we amended and put more soil in here. There were these beds here, and it gets really hot. So this is in the back of this shed, and these 2 beds keep shades. This one is very sunny. So this is my favorite one so far. It doesn't look very impressive, but this is a hugelkultur. There's like gravel in the bottom, and then there's straw, sandy soil, and then black topsoil. And it's these are green beans and corn. See in the back, so the corn can grow tall and the green beans can like climb up on the corn. There's a squash, and there's some peas as well, and then there's kale planted on the outside. So you can kind of see over here, it looks nice and lush. And even, you know, the planting space is kind of limited, so I want to find every little nook and cranny where you can plant stuff. So even like this gravel, I noticed that it has like earthworm castings inside. See, that's black, and I started using that as planting space. So like here, I just used like a couple handfuls of black soil, and there's more corn and beans, and this is squash. You can kind of take over this little area here. There's more corn, beans, and squash planted. See, like the babies are coming up pretty. We'll see how it works. But there's the garden. These two beds are always in the shade, which is like good for tomatoes. People here, I hear, have hard time growing tomatoes because they get stunted by the heat. And this one has some chard. Those are cucumbers. These are sweet peas. And here's more squash. This is all a row of spinach and cucumbers. And there's some tomatoes. So tomatoes and cucumbers can grow tall. Spinach is short. And then I want something in between, you know, kind of trying to stack up the tall plants and the short. So here's our containers. So like an area like this, I got a big pot. There's some small patty pan squash, and it can kind of sprawl all over that area and climb on that little wooded patio. Here's some more potted stuff. These are some hot pepper starts. This is some eggplant. They're not doing so, they're growing really slow, so I don't know. There's some more eggplants, but these guys are doing really good. These are our hot peppers, and they already have little flowers, and they're growing really fast. We got these in the nursery. Check this out. This is yellow crookneck squash, and I had to relocate this climbing Jew, wandering Jew, and I gave some like extra soil, so I'm gonna plant some of the squash. Here's a rat trap. We caught a rat this morning. We caught 3 rats already, so I don't want the rats to eat all the squash starts. Check this out. So it's just beginning of April, but in Louisiana, look what you can have. There's already fruiting tomato, which is incredible, where most people have starts. So these are different varieties of tomatoes. And here is the garden. See, like this area around this tree, I wanted to have pumpkins all around it, so here we planted a bunch of pumpkins. There's pumpkin start, there's and cantaloupes, which are also sprawly. Here's some squash, some pumpkin. And this is also everything I try to plant like a hugelkultur for aeration for the roots. So this one has some straw, at least, you know, stuff underneath the soil. But yeah, check it out, big tomato plants. And it's just the beginning of spring, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, there's the yard. I wanted to plant something on this patio. It would be great to plant some like chayote squash or gourds or something. We'll see, maybe we'll add. So yeah, there it is. There's another cool little project. So there were these 2 deer skins, and I tanned the leather, and this is what I have now. So they're kind of like 2 small deer. So this is actually a bag, and you just need a strap that kind of makes a burrito, and then you can also, well, I'm not gonna do it one hand, but you unfold it and you can use it like as a rug. And then check this out, I have this, it's like a little purse. I have to stitch it up, so I'm in the middle of that. And this is also like a little kind of like a wallet. I needed a wallet. I want one out of deer leather. Check out this bag. These are like messenger bags. I like this one a lot. It's kind of funky, and I can put like a little bone or something in here as a button, and that's the, you know, opens up like that, and then just make like 2 straps. So I'm working on this right now. It's really nice hide. This is rawhide, so it's stiff, which is good for like a messenger bag. And here's another one. How does this one go? I don't remember how this goes, but you gotta stitch it up and it folds over. And then there were some bones, so I was working on making these pipes, and see, like this one cracked, and I was gonna split it and make some arrowheads, and that could be a design that I'm gonna use like for this, like make a button out of this. We'll see. And I'll show you a finished pipe out of one of these bones. So here's my little studio. It's a really nice house that he's got. Pretty stoked to be here. This is the little pipe that I made. It came out super shiny. Put it by the light. It's like, I don't know, it's hard to see in the video, but oh, there we go. See, it's like super shiny like porcelain, and I just filter it with a little pebble like that, and there's just enough little space to get the air through, and that's the bowl part, so it's also filtered with a little rock, and works super well. And it's a little deer bone, and I made those a lot, like in Colorado Valley, out of goat bones. And deer bone is stronger. And there's some of my flutes. I'm gonna play my flute for you.